Welcome back to another episode of the Auto Accident Attorneys Podcast, brought to you by the Auto Accident Attorneys Group by Salimi Law. I'm Jamie Salimi, filling in for Ali, who is my partner in life and in law, which means
I love that.
we're law partners and we are married. I'm usually a behind-the-scenes person, but I'm so happy to be filling in today because today's conversation hits close to home for me and I think for a lot of people out there. We live in a faster-paced world more than ever before, and I myself am always keeping my eyes and ears open for ways to slow it down for more sanity, more peace, and more time to focus on what truly matters to me. Today I'm talking with Monée Williams, owner and founder of Time Managed. Time Managed provides concierge and personal assistance for busy people for their personal and professional needs. We both run businesses and households, and we're diving into the real talk about juggling it all.
Yes.
And when to ask for help. This is not a conversation limited to females. We just happen to both be women. I think it does a disservice to all the men out there who also feel just as time constrained and spread too thin. So, Monée, thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to speaking with you.
I'm so glad we connected. First, let's start with Time Managed. I'm looking at your beautiful website here. Tell us about Time Managed and what services you provide exactly.
Yeah, so Time Managed is a full-service concierge and personal assistant business. We operate in three primary lines of business. So we have private clients, and this can be executives, busy moms. I've had entrepreneurs, I've had celebrities. So anyone who wants that one-on-one, high-touch, white glove service.
Yeah.
I also do concierge services for businesses. So, for instance, with your law firm, if you wanted to hire a concierge service as a benefit for your employees, we'll probably get into this, but a lot of busy employees really need somebody to come in and take some of those things off their plate. And, if you're taking some of those personal things, then they can get back to the things to make them more productive in their jobs. The third way is by providing white glove service and VIP service at events. So we do some event planning, but we've also done the white glove program for the NFL with the Super Bowl. And that just entails making sure that they have their transportation needs taken care of. They have their dinner reservations. We're doing the errands, running to get their tickets, bringing it to where they are. We escorted them to NFL honors. So the high touch white glove service for events and your VVIPs.
Right, right. That sounds great. How did you come to start this business? Did you see a need somewhere?
Yes, both. The need and my own personal experience.
Uh-huh.
So I was working for a corporation in Minnesota. My daughter at the time, she's 25 now, but she was about 4 or 5 years old at the time. And the corporation I was working for had a concierge in the lobby. And every Tuesday she'd go to Target. So you give her $5, you give her your grocery list, and she'd come back with whatever it was that you needed. So one day I asked for an electric toothbrush for my daughter. Of course, she can tell that I'm African American. And I only told her I wanted a regular toothbrush, but I just wanted it to be electronic. So she comes back with a Black Princess toothbrush. And I just thought that level of detail and consideration, of course,
thoughtful.
Very thoughtful. And I didn't give her any of those instructions, but she thought, about my daughter. Maybe she wanted a princess. And of course, she would want a princess that looks like her, right?
Yeah.
And so even though it was a very small gesture, that resonated with me here 20 plus years later. And in the Twin Cities, we lived there for about 14 years. A lot of development was happening in around that time. So between, let's say, 2005, I'm saying 20. We've been in the 20s for so long. But this is around 2005. So let's just say around that time, I was still working. I actually didn't come up with the idea until a couple years later, when I saw a lot of the development in the Twin Cities. And I said, these buildings are going to need a concierge. But I am the friend that everyone calls if you need a recommendation for dinner. Where can I get tickets? Vacations. I'm the resourceful friend, the family member that everyone calls. So I said, I can be a concierge. And these buildings that they're building in the area are going to need one. But fast forward, when I did start my business, I noticed that more individuals needed my services. So I was trying to get into be the concierge to staff the desk in a high-end condominium building or in a corporate office facility. However, the people who needed my business the most and who were saying yes to me the most were individuals. And so for the past 10 years or so, private clients have been the primary type of client that I have.
So that's why you have you cater to both the concierge, which when I think of the word concierge, I think of more like the hotel concierge person, you know, down on the lobby floor, who can help you with any needs, you know, when you're in this new city. And then for the personal assistant services, I think of more individuals. But hearing how you got to have this business idea and start this business totally makes sense. You have insight into both.
Yeah,
and so you're catering to both. Okay.
Exactly.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, your beautiful website, which is timemanagedllc.com, has this, moniker, this motto that I love. It stood out to me. It's unlocking the full potential of your time, one task at a time. How did you come up with that? What does that mean? Why is it on your website?
So we're all given the same amount of time. And often we have much more on our to-do list than we have time to do. So our business will come and unlock that potential because we're maximizing your time. And I just wanted to think about ways that I can add value. And so that model really speaks to that value that we add to a client. You know, you still have those same amount of hours. And as you become more advanced in your career, as your family grows, you have to think about ways to prioritize your time. You can't do everything. And in one of my podcasts, 'cause I also have a podcast, one of my clients said, nor should you, right? So even though you can, right? You can get up on Saturday morning and clean for 4 hours if
that's what's super important to you, then
right. But should you be doing that? You know, are there other things that that you should be doing? So we are partners with our clients, thought partners in a way that we understand their needs. We try to anticipate them where we can, just like that example of the concierge and my daughter's toothbrush, but in larger ways, right? So we think, okay, if you have children, when the school calendar comes out, give that to us. We'll make sure those dates are on your calendar. Give us your anniversary dates, your birthdays that you want to celebrate, anything else that's important to you. So then a month out from that date, we'll say, hey, so-and-so's anniversary is coming up. Do you guys need a dinner reservation or a gift? I know that spring break is coming up. Do you have plans? Are you going to take a vacation? Should we start thinking about places? So we're being a thought partner so that you're not bogged down with doing things at the last minute, and we can think ahead for you.
You're not dropping the ball if you have a service like this. It kind of reminds me of, I don't know if you watch the HBO show Mad Men, but, you know, that time era, like the 1950s, 1960s, where, all the men in suits and high rises smoking and drinking during the work hours, they had their secretaries.
Yes.
I don't know that I've heard even the word secretary
in a long time.
In a really long time. But they had these secretaries that essentially was supposed to do all of that. Like, hey, it's your wife's birthday, or maybe they don't even mention it's your wife's birthday, but, sends a gift anyway. A very thoughtful gift because she is so ingrained in her boss's life and knows, school calendar, the wife's preferences and all that. So that's what that comes to mind now. And you think about it, and the world has not slowed down since then with all the advances in technology and just, how the world has progressed. We have become quicker, faster, more demanding. Not we people, but like just society and our the demands just on individuals, on businesses. People want everything faster, quicker, better, right? So this kind of service totally makes sense. And I think you said 2005 is when you were in, was it Minnesota?
Yes. Yep.
And you worked at the company who had the concierge service down below.
Yep.
That to me is super, I mean, that's very innovative thinking for that company to have had a service like that. There are people these days, they do have assistants, personal assistants, whether professionally or individually, but not everybody could afford that, or not everybody thinks, they need someone dedicated, just for them for that. So like what is your typical, so I think your business could probably, touch on or help people like that who don't necessarily need one person to completely manage all of their stuff, maybe little bits and pieces. Do you have clients like that who reach out, or what is your typical client look like on an individual basis?
Yes, no client is the same, but I would say typically, if we could sum it up, it would be a household manager, and each household looks different. So you might have a one-parent household, you may have a two-parent household, you may have a stay-at-home mom with a working husband, or vice versa. So when we think about household, I don't want to pigeonhole us into just one type of home. But what I want you to take away is that whatever your household looks like, whatever that makeup is, and whatever you need help with, we are here to do that, right? So I have one client where they had multiple homes. So I was helping to manage that property. When they did move, I researched and hired an estate sale company to sell the belongings that they weren't taking to their next home, and managed that process. I do vendor management. So sometimes, just recently with the holidays, Christmas lights. So
mine just came down yesterday.
Having someone come in, put them up, and then take them down. But it could also be something as simple as my garage door is broken. I don't have time to research. So at a very basic level, you call us, you say, my garage door is broken. This is what's wrong with it. Can you help? Yes, we can. We will call and research, let's say 5 options, let them know what the problem is, get a price quote. We'll return back to you our top 3 from that list of 5 and say, here, this is the top 3. We've called them, vetted them. Here's their price point. Here's the reviews on Google or Yelp. And please pick one. And they'll choose one from the list. We'll call and make the appointment. We'll let you know when that appointment is. If you're not going to be home, we can meet them. I have keys to my clients' homes. I have their credit cards. So that's the other thing, that's the beauty about this. And I know you asked about the typical, but it can be anything. There's 2 things that I say. One thing is we do it all, so you don't have to. The second thing is we will do anything that is legal and safe. Yeah. So, and I say that because, again, everyone's lives are different, and the cycle of our lives are also different. Yep. And so when we are thought partners, it can be something as simple as a garage door being fixed, but it can be something as massive as coordinating a move, right? And everything in between. So that's like the range of things. We've had clients where, what I wanted to say, and I apologize. Discretion is very important in all of that, right? So not only are we being a thought partner, we're an integral part of your life because we might have access to your credit cards. We have access to your home. I've driven my clients' cars, to bring them to drop it off at the dealership for repair. Yeah. So there's so many everyday things, and you have to trust the person that's going to be that close to you and your family. And we pride ourselves on that. We sign NDAs if we have to. We have background checks for our employees. So that level of care also comes with a level of discretion that you can't get anywhere.
Right. So, okay, that brings me, first off, I love we'll do anything legal and safe.
Right.
As a lawyer, you want to be as aggressive as possible for the benefit of your client because you're advocating for your client. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you want it to be within the bounds of, the law and safe and all that. But I love that. You push until you just cannot cross. Yep. Love that. I was going to say, how do you know when to when it's time to let go, when it's time, because everything you've just said, the car dealership car drop off, which also made me think about driving me to the airport or my family to the airport. And then, do I really want to leave my car at the airport for as long as I'm going to be out of town? Like maybe it might be better for, sometimes we have all these dad drop us off, take my car back to our house.
Okay.
So, a service like that.
Mm-hmm.
The whole garage door is broken. I don't know that I have time to vet, however many vendors. So all of that it's real.
Mm-hmm.
It's what I'm going through right now. I just had to have my lights down yesterday, and but it was a whole like, when do all the Christmas decorations come down?
Yep.
Do I need to bug Ali about it? He hates that, by the way. So I have to outsource it, but I pay someone to help me like bring all that stuff down for the season. What advice do you have so that people can more clearly see it's time?
Mm-hmm.
Either delegate one thing, two things, or just all the things.
Yeah, that's a great question. So for someone who's not used to delegating and outsourcing, I say to start with one thing. So make a list of everything. I have I actually have a document that I'll send you. It's an ebook, and it's the 10 ways to outsource easily. So many of you may travel. You may own a home that has a yard. So your landscaping, your lawn care, is that something that can be outsourced? Cleaning your home, is that something that can be outsourced? So make a list of all the things that you have to do personally, and then think about who else can do it, and the amount of time it takes you to do it versus them. The other thing I like to do is evaluate the cost of my time. So it may take me, 4 hours to clean my home, but I can pay somebody $200 to clean it, and they may take 2 hours, they may take 1 hour. I don't care. But I know that my time is worth more than $200 for that 4 hours. So I feel that price point is a value for me.
Yeah.
So if I think about the time it takes me to do something and the cost of having someone else do it, the question I ask is it worth it? Is it worth my time to do it, or is it worth it to outsource?
How do you value your time? Because let's be real, let's put a monetary value.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mean
me personally. Yeah, no, I understand.
How do you have your clients kind of figure out what is your time worth?
It's a personal question, but I like to use round numbers. So I'll use $50 an hour. I'll use $100 an hour.
Yeah.
Right. So if you have to spend, let's say, an hour calling vendors for your garage door, that's only 1 hour to call them. Now you have to schedule the time, right? And so when you're all done, you've spent 3 hours from beginning to end to get your garage door fixed. So that's $300. So in those 3 hours, could you have generated income for yourself for 3 hours? Could you have spent 3 hours with your children?
Yeah, the
the non-monetary things. Yeah,
could be super important and a value, but maybe not like dollar value, but heart value.
Exactly. Or resting. We're on the go so much. And you likely could do a lot of the things on your to-do list if you started early in the morning and work till late at night. But is that the kind of life that you want to live? Is that the lifestyle that you want?
And that's what you mentioned earlier. Like, should you?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So just to kind of circle back, the client has to be the one to take the first step. Mm-hmm. And if they call me and say, I have all these things to do, I'm at my wit's end, that is pretty much when they're like, I need help. And that's people will refer them.
Yeah,
yep.
The breaking point.
But even when I talk to them, they may mention in our consultation hour that they have these 10 things that are on their plate. And I'll say, yes, yep, those 10 things sound like things that we can handle. Mm-hmm. But then when you ask questions and start to uncover, being that thought partner, we uncover other things that we can take off their plate. Oh, you're doing that? You shouldn't do that. We'll take care of that too. So it might start small. It might start with you being at the end of your rope and you really need help. But it then becomes an integral part of your life because we're thinking beyond what is just on that list.
Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking back about, so one of the things for myself, because because I'm constantly feeling like I'm stretched too thin.
Mm-hmm.
I do know how to say no. I do know. For all the people out there that know me, I do know how to say no, and I do say no. But being involved in my kids' school organizations, working, here, I don't even know that I would say I'm part-time, full-time. I'm just every time when I can find the time. And when my kids are off at school, I am go. Like, do not bother me. Like, I need to do this stuff. And then household stuff. My husband has, for the last maybe 5 years, been telling me I need to delegate more and more out. I've done, I think, as much as I can. One thing he's always harped on, and I just cannot let go, is the cooking at home. And I think it's not that I cook a lot anymore. Like, I mean, when I can, I do it. And it's because I love it when I do have the time. That's something that brings me probably more value to keep it in my hands than to outsource it, even though the outsourcing might taste better, be healthier. I don't know. But that is one thing that he's always harped on me about, and I just cannot let that go. Do you find that with your clients? There are things that they are like teetering, like, should I not? But it brings me pure joy or whatever. Oh, laundry too.
Definitely.
Like, I don't have our housekeeper do the laundry because that's my one time to just like binge watch a show. And I'm not because I'm constantly analyzing. And I know I'm not the only one. Like, I know everyone out there.
Our minds are constantly going.
It's running. And this is my time to mindlessly do this folding while I'm watching something. Do you find that clients have things like that they at first think they should let go, and then they realize, no, this brings some true value to me. I can't put a monetary price, and it brings me joy, and I want to keep it.
Yes. So in your case, if you brought me those two examples, I would say to you, definitely keep the laundry. However, if you do get to a point where maybe you haven't had the time to sit down and do the laundry and you have your me time where you're binge watching your shows, then I can call in a laundry service to have them wash and fold just to get you caught up. Okay. So I won't take that from you completely.
Yeah,
absolutely. And for the cooking, it's pretty much the same thing. I also enjoy cooking. I don't always have the time to cook. Sometimes when I am at peak stress, I will shut down work and everything and go cook, because that is my mindless time. I can take a recipe and pour my heart and my soul into my cooking, because I really enjoy cooking and it actually relaxes me. And that's not the same for everyone.
Right. Yeah.
So it sounds like we may be similar in that respect. But what I would say is that, again, if you're too busy, so if you're doing a dinner party and let's say you do want to cook because you enjoy it and there's certain things that you love and your guests will probably love for you to cook, but what else can you outsource? If you do a main dish, if you're doing the meats, let's say, then maybe you can outsource the appetizers, or maybe call in someone. So my team, or there's, chef assistants out there that you can call in. Maybe they can come in and assist you in the kitchen. So it's not an all day thing for you to prepare for this party. Also for lunches, you may want to eat healthier. So we have companies on our resource list that can meal prep for you, prepare healthy lunches for you and have them delivered to your home. So that's one less meal you have to worry about. So it's not about taking over, and in Ali's case, taking over the entire responsibility of cooking, but it's just being smarter about where do you want to put your energy? What's most important for you to do versus what can you outsource to make your life a little easier?
Yeah. So I'm focusing right now more on me, but Ali, there are things that I think he should outsource as well, personally, professionally. Do you find it's more women these days, and I'm talking on the individual side rather than your corporate clients, but do you find it skewed more where it's like women who are reaching out to say, hey, my to-do list is just getting out of control? Or, is there a good amount of men out there who are reaching out?
Yeah, our client list is mostly women. I do have a few male clients, but it is definitely, and I think it's because women are the ones who are running the home anyway. So when they get to a point where they need help, they are just more resourceful. I think men suffer in silence.
Could it be a community thing? Because, listen, So I'm I'm not on Facebook a lot, but when I am really on it for a couple things, travel stuff, and then the life stuff, like looking for a garage repairman or a restaurant recommendation with very specific needs. These are women's groups that I'm a part of because there is so much out there. Is it because we put it all out there and we seek it? And like you said, do men just not?
I don't have any data around
Right.
it, like
It's just
official data, right?
It's just real life, your own life experience. Maybe.
Exactly. So, I mean, I can tell you for the business, most of our clients are women. I do have clients who are men, who are small business owners, who are executives. I've had a couple celebrity clients who are male. So it does run the gamut. But yes, the majority of my clients are women. I don't know why that is. I don't know.
We would need like a psychology expert.
We do. We should do we should ask.
Yeah.
But the other thing, and it could be my algorithm. What we see on our social media is based on what we're searching and liking and resharing. But I wonder if men in their social settings on social media or in their groups and things of that nature, do they complain or talk about how busy they are? They're probably talking about maybe sports
mindless.
Or
it's not mindless. Sorry, it's like $1 trillion industry out there. But
so they may use, like women, we may use social media as a resource for our lives. Men may use social media for a resource for other parts of their lives. And I'm not sure because that's not in my algorithm. So I don't know.
Right. I know
we need to find out.
To shut down.
Yes.
Decompress.
Right. So he's probably not thinking about laundry and how to make travel easier. He's like, what is the score for the latest game? Right. What is this new car coming out and who's driving it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Exactly. I would agree. Yeah. All right. Well, to wrap up, for your time managed business, from what you've learned and seen over all these decades, if you were to leave one piece of advice for our listeners and our viewers about how to handle or how to succeed with time management, what would be that advice?
Well, number one, call us. So if you can, if it's in your if it's in your budget, and we can work with all budgets based on the time that you may need. But the second thing, if you wanted to just start small, again, just pick something that you have to do that's on your list that have been on your list or going undone for a while. So choose that thing and try to outsource that thing. Baby steps, exactly. And my podcast is called 1 Minute with Monée. And it's not because the podcast is only 1 minute, but it's the idea that finding balance, finding harmony in your life, it just takes 1 minute at a time. So don't think about it like, oh my goodness, I have to outsource this entire list to be effective. No, just take 1 minute, one thing, one task, and then build from there.
Okay, I love that. Thank you. All right. Well, it's been a pleasure, Monée.
Thank you so much for having me.
It was great to have you. I'm excited about this being out there in the world for our viewers to have this advice. So appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah. Well, thank you to everyone out there. And that's a wrap on today's episode with Monée Williams of Time Managed. See you next time.